The 2014 Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV comes to a close tonight with race 10 of 10, the championship finale. The Inside Sim Racing TV 195 from the Homestead Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida, alongside Harrison Weidlitz. My name is Evan Pasoko, and Harrison, the championship is going to be crowned tonight after 9 non-stop weeks. Tonight, the 10th race, and actually take a look at the grid, and it looks like it may mathematically be done before it even gets started.
Yeah, and that really is a testament to how great Adam Benefiel has run all season long. A 10-race chase, there's not much room for error, and, there weren't many errors on his behalf. And so this could be a bit of a victory lap for him tonight. It's a little bit shorter field than usual, but we've got all the heavy hitters that we have each and every week, so it's going to be a competitive show up front. And for Adam Benefiel, the pressure might be off right out of the gate.
And the field is taken to the grid down there on pit lane. So we will run you down through your starting order presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and Derek Spear Design, some of the great partners that helping put on this series this year on LSRTV. And we'll run you down through them. On pole position after a 15-minute open qualifier, Bobby Terrell, the Muscle Milk Chevrolet, doing all that he can, but again, may be futile at this point. But he will start on pole position, a time of 32.706, going to put him at the top spot. Dwayne Vincent going to start alongside him outside on row number 1 in the number 9 machine.
Starting third is the number 5 of Dan Murray, who won a Full Throttle Cup race just last night. Alongside of him, points leader Adam Benefiel.
John Abbott, league organizer and also race control through these races, going to be rolling off from P5. That's the inside of row number 3. And Matt Lacrosse at number 21 Quick Car Chevrolet, the final night that we'll see him with RSR competition sporting that pink in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. He'll start from 6th.
Starting 7th will be the number 8 of Cody Gibson. Alongside of him, number 48, Kevin Linden.
Scott Simley get a start to the inside on row number 5. That's 9th for him. Brian Harvey will round out the top 10.
And rounding out the field, we have Doug Manning, the number 51, rolling off 11th. Alongside him, the number 34, Ernest Smith Jr. And starting 13th will be the number 77 of Sherry Ann Mills.
And Sherry Ann is behind the wall working on some sim issues and is not on the grid at the moment. Pace car down pit road, and we get set to go racing championship style. Green flag in the air. We're underway at Homestead Miami Speedway, and as 12 cars cross the start-finish line, it is official, and it is going to be the 85 of Adam Benefiel who will lock up the championship, but we race side by side for second through 1 and 2.
Yeah, and as these guys really racing hard for second, Dwayne Vincent up on the high side, Dan Murray down low. I think the bottom lane is going to be the place to be, but it'll be interesting to see how these cars work the top side carrying that momentum. But Adam Benefiel with the pressure off, he could be a little aggressive here compared to if he had to keep that car on the track and out of the wall in order to win this championship. He might have been taking it a little bit easy tonight. Not so the case at the moment. He's up to P3 as Dwayne Vincent is pulling closer and closer to that 14 of Bobby Terrell, who led practice and led qualifying.
We got some side-by-side back at a pack. It features a 21 car actually going to catch the fence there at a quarter number 2. That is Matt Lacrosse. He will drop backwards down the back straightaway. The 34 of Ernest Smith Jr. going to go to the inside and attempt to make that pass on Matt. Matt was actually scored in 8th position at the stripe, started in 6th. To be able to stay in front of that 34 to hang on to 10th, but not the start that Matt Lacrosse was looking for by any means. Back at it again, side by side for P2. Adam Benefiel immediately on the charge, was disappointed in qualifying back at a number 4 spot, showed the speed, was second fastest in practice. He gets the second position as he clears the number 9 machine at a quarter number 2. So move Adam Benefiel up to the number 2 spot and just about 1.5 car lengths off the guy that he's been battling with all season long, Bobby Terrell, who again sits in the top position, but unfortunately will not have an opportunity despite all the circumstances, and himself also putting that car on pole position. Not enough entries in tonight's race that would give him the opportunity to make up that 18-point deficit that Adam Benefiel was able to solidify by going to victory lane 1 week ago in Phoenix, gaining the additional 4 points and ended up digging the final hole in that coffin there. So it is going to be the 85 and 14 up front, and just going for bragging rights at this point. Benefiel would be looking for yet another trip to victory lane on the season. He already sits with 4 in 9 starts. Terrell going to be looking to make a 3rd trip to victory lane. He has 2 so far.
Yeah, and if Benefiel is able to win this race tonight, to win 5 in a 10-race series would be absolutely incredible. as if, you know, 4 out of 9 right now isn't incredible. So the 85, you see on the very bottom groove is coming out of turn 2. You see these cars kind of bounce around. There's a huge bump right there. The splitter hits that, and it's almost like the car wants to carry itself on the left rear tire and shoot in the opposite direction, especially when you're counter steering. But you see these guys running about a lane off of the white line here at Homestead. There's not too much grip in that bottommost lane. That second groove is where all the grip is at. Sometimes you see these drivers dip their left sides into that bottom groove, and it gets a little bit loose, as we saw Benefiel at a turn 2 last time by. But Terrell remains in control of the lead here, as Benefiel losing just a little bit of ground on him right now. Dwayne Vincent not quite able to keep up, as John Abbott looking for 4th right now. The number 10 car working to the bottom side underneath the number 5 of Dan Murray. Murray carries a lot of momentum into turn number 3 and just gets very tight there. It's going to give the run to the number 10 on the bottom.
And it is going to be the advantage, as you said. John Abbott going to have a nose up on that number 5 machine of Dan Murray across the start-finish line. You see the 5 is able to drive it in a little bit harder up top. The 10 car going to counteract that with a good run coming off the corner, and they will stay pretty much neck and neck. The machine behind them taking a good look at this action is Cody Gibson, the number 8 Chevrolet, rides right now in P6 and is trying to determine who he wants to go with. He'll get a nose to the outside on the number 10 of John Abbott there. As again, the 5 machine a little bit better on entry. They come right back close to each other off the corner, and still going to be right nose to nose this time by, but it is John Abbott with the advantage. These guys caught in a gridlock, and because they are battling side by side, they're starting to get a group behind them, but we are side by side for the top spot. Adam Benefiel wasting no time to the inside and side by side with championship contender counterpart Bobby Terrell. Advantage to Terrell, half a car length down into the quarter, but the roll speed dynamic Chevrolet of Benefiel on the attack down low.
Yeah, that 85 car has been working the bottom a little bit more, or a little bit better than Bobby coming out of turn 4. There's pretty much 2 ways to attack this track, as you see Benefiel get out front, lead his first lap of the event. But some guys really let the car wash up out of turn number 4, as you saw that 14 of Terrell doing. Benefiel keeping a tighter line on the exit of turn number 4 usually, as we come out of turn 2 here, and you see Terrell with a great run. He looks low down the backstretch towards turn number 3, but it's interesting to see which groove will play out here as we get deeper into this run.
And we saw that gridlock between John Abbott and Dan Murray. John's going to be the winner of that one, as again we are still side by side now up inside the top 3. So John Abbott was able to get P4, and in the same regard Cody Gibson followed him through. So the number 8 machine up to 5th, Dan Murray back to P6. Some more side by side with the 48 of Kevin Linden back there in the pack as well. As again those guys battling coming off the corner. 67 machine is the car that's trying to get around that 48. That is Brian Harvey, but the side-by-side up front proves futile for the number 14 machine. Terrell pulls back in line to the number 2 spot, and he will have to worry about Dwayne Vincent, as Dwayne only sitting at about 1.5 car lengths, and now 2 off of quarter number 4. Dwayne very competitive, going to want to fight you hard for every position you can get, as we cross lap number 10 off the board, currently working lap 11 down through 1 and 2. And with the limited amount of cars, Harrison, the only story is not the fact that the championship battle is not really going to be a factor in this one, and it's all wrapped up in the drop of that green flag, but it also means that you can probably expect this race to go green for the majority, if not the whole distance, which is going to put a very big emphasis on the fuel strategy, and when you come in, when you stay out, that could be a huge factor in who walks away with the checkered flag at the end of the night.
Absolutely. It puts you into a box sometimes where sometimes short pitting can really pay off, but a poorly timed caution or an untimely caution really can put a kink into your plans in a race like this. But certainly only 12 cars on the track. Sherry Ann Mills still not able to get onto the racetrack, and it has a green flag look to it. Pretty much every week almost has a green flag look to it. These drivers have raced with each other quite a bit, are very comfortable racing with each other, and show each other a lot of respect on the racetrack, and for that, you see a lot of green flag racing here at Real Sim Racing. But Benefiel's starting to stretch his lead just a little bit. That time by, Bobby Terrell was just a hair faster, but Benefiel just stretching over the course of the last 5 laps. But, you know, that number 9, Dwayne Vincent, he knows when to go, and he knows when to hold back just a little bit. He hasn't been too aggressive yet, but he's shown a lot of speed, a lot of capability in that car, and these guys have not been able to shake him whatsoever.
And if Dwayne Vincent had made one more start, and things may have gone a little bit differently for him this season as we go side by side for what is going to be at the start-finish line position 5. Advantage to Cody Gibson, Dan Murray challenging on the bottom. Dwayne entering tonight scored back 7th in the championship standings, 78 points out of that championship battle, but that's only on 8 starts out of the 9 races so far. All the drivers behind him in the top 10, Cody Gibson, Kevin Linden, Sherry Ann Mills, have started all 9 races. So, you know, you got to look back on it and see if Dwayne was able to make that one more race that he was unable to attend. He could have been another guy that was up here in the picture for the championship battle. He has been to victory lane 1 time in those 8 starts, sitting on 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s. Only 1 time he has not been able to wrap up a top 10 out of it. So Dwayne, you have to include him in the talk there with Terrell and Benefield on some of the top drivers that we have really seen dominate this short 10-week 2014 campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that win at Kentucky, which was a great race with a 3-way battle for that win there with 3 different strategies for the drivers in the running for that win. But right now the battle seems to be heating up for 5th. Dan Murray having a little bit of trouble holding off the number 8 of Cody Gibson's all over him. And right now looking low, but not quite there. Gibson gives him the lane entering turn number 1. And Gibson is a driver who hasn't seemed to get some of the finishes that he's certainly capable of. It's been a rough go for this season for that number 8 car, but usually shows a lot of speed week after week. And right now that number 8 car has a mirror full of the number 4 Scott Simley. And Simley himself has been winning, I believe, in the Midnight Thunder Series, top 5ing his way into I believe he's third in points here in the Asphalt Assault Series. So Simley right now seems to be a weekly thing. Doesn't get the qualifying run that he looks for, but always seems to be charging hard here in the race.
And one thing that has still evaded Scott Simley in this Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series campaign is that trip to victory lane. He's 4th in the standings, so better guess Harrison on your end than I could have gotten. He is P4, sitting on some solid numbers, 5 top 5s, and actually 7 top 10 finishes as well, so nearly identical to Dwayne Vincent. But again, a lot of these guys, they're able to have solid runs, and you mentioned Dan Murray was able to translate a solid run all season in the Full Throttle Cup side of things to finally get a trip to victory lane just last night at Martinsville to lock himself into the Cup side of things. Their championship going to be coming up in 3 weeks' time on Monday nights on LSRTV. Still waiting for similar breakthrough for a lot of these guys, Cody Gibson included in that group.
Yeah, and Cody Gibson has been, he looks like a hard charger. He really seems to get a lot out of the car. He's always pushing. I get the feeling that he likes tracks where he could really get after it and be aggressive. So maybe the Nationwide car, maybe not as good as maybe the truck would be for him as the Nationwide car. Usually a lot of patience, a lot of tightness built into these setups to where these guys are really backing up their corners, rolling a lot, trying to just keep the momentum in these cars. The truck's similar in power, but certainly tend to be driven a little bit different. But these guys holding station here in the middle of the pack for the most part. The lead battle has remained pretty tight. This time Terrell's really closing in on Benefield. We saw Benefield pull away for a couple laps, but Terrell seems to have gotten into that rhythm. A little bit of a bobble as I say that. Entering turn number 1 doesn't look to affect him too much, but something I noticed out of Terrell's car that I haven't noticed out of Vincent and Benefield too much is Terrell's been getting on the right rear tire a little bit more. Might be by design. He might be trying to, put a little rotation to that car by getting the right rear hotter, or just turn number 4 might be as we ride on board with Dwayne Vincent here, who's starting to look underneath Terrell. But turn 4 especially, you seem to see Terrell got loose there quite a few times.
So Vincent going to pull up to the back bumper and drop off about 3/4 of a car length as they go down into the corner. Again, still working green flag conditions. We have had one car come down pit road and actually has exited Doug Manning after qualifying in 11th position, was dropping off the lead pace and then brought it down pit road, taken some service, thought about it for a minute, and then brought that machine behind the wall. So start and park per se for Doug Manning was not satisfied with the way he was running. It's frustrating, run around at the back of the back, especially in these races that you can feel and that they're going to go green all the way. It's tough, to stick in there and, run significantly off the pace of the leaders and not want to park it. So I have to give credit to Ernest Smith Jr. right now. As he stays at a race right now, Harrison was 12th fastest in practice, 12th fastest in qualifying, and currently sits 11th on a racetrack, 15 seconds off the lead pace. But again, still stick it in there, and you know you're never going to be able to improve unless you get out there and you log laps and you're able to see how a long race like this progresses, get that experience behind you.
And this is really where you learn the most, is the race conditions where you just run lap after lap after lap after lap. Ernest Smith 34 car really tight right now, going way up the track. So it's one of those things as we get more and more laps, as he gets more and more laps under his belt this race, he's going to start figuring it out a little bit more. And you never know what can happen in racing. Things change all the time, and a lot of times you just find yourself as the 34 hits the wall pretty hard coming through 1 and 2. Not going to help the handling in that car, but you never know what can happen in these races. You can be running last for half the race and then get a couple of cautions or figure out exactly what the drivers in front of you are doing better than you, and you're right back in the running there. So it's a never quit attitude there.
Had a little bit of a challenge for the lead that we saw there down that front straightaway. The 14 car looked low, was unable to get a position on the inside of Adam Benefiel. Actually allowed Dwayne Vincent to get the nose of his Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet to the outside of Bobby Terrell when they went back down at quarter number 1. And evidently Bobby Terrell was able to get back in line, and things looked pretty much the same up front. No major changes. We had a pair of side-by-sides back in the pack, but everybody there is single-filed things back out as well. And as we continue to work under the green flag conditions, I want to take a moment to talk about this Homestead Miami Speedway. Some track facts. The Homestead Miami Speedway, located in Homestead, part of Dade County in Florida, broke ground and opened in 1993 and then 1995. Owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation, has a capacity crowd of 65,000 seats, and opened, or rather was made for construction cost at the time at $70 million US. The surface is an asphalt surface, 1.5 miles in length, with a little bit of progressive banking, 18 to 20 degrees. But Harrison, this track for a 1.5 unique compared to all the others. It is not a trial, but there's no triable banking to talk about. It's an oval. You go down in the 1 and 2, you go down a straightaway, you go to 3 and 4, you go down a straightaway. This racetrack is different. It's tricky, and I have limited experience at this track at an Indy car, but really no seat time in this B car here. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got to run this track in these cars?
It is pretty interesting, and it's a little bit reminiscent of the way Atlanta was before that repave in 1997, that was completed in 97, and shaped like the classic Atlanta. It looks symmetrical, but it really isn't. You have to run 1 and 2 a little bit differently than 3 and 4. Car really likes to shoot up the track in turn 4. Some cars really like to use up all the racetrack to keep the momentum in, and other times you want to stay really tight with the bottom here, as Benefiel seems to be doing as they work through 4 right now. He and Terrell running 1-2. So it's an interesting track, and it's progressively banked. Atlanta almost had racing like progressively banked tracks there back in the early 90s. But the way Atlanta used to be, they'd run all the way from the top all the way down to the bottom, and you see a lot of that Homestead, but not so much right here. The groove that these drivers are looking to run in is the second groove off the bottom, so I would say it's like classic Atlanta.
And the top 3 have started to check out. We've been talking about and documenting how they have been closely knit since the drop of the green flag. Actually, Dwayne Vincent right up on the back bumper of Bobby Terrell. That time by his lap number 28 was completed, but they have opened up 2.3 seconds on John Abbott on the rest of the field as well. Everybody throughout the field still single file at the moment, but got to give a call to John Abbott, having a solid run here tonight in Harrison. Most of these races he's running in between positions 10th through 15th, having some solid runs, and he also has to kind of pull double duty with race control. But good to see John Abbott make an appearance. He's up inside the top 5 right now, sitting pretty solidly in front of Dan Murray. He's got about 3 car lengths to the good as they run around this time by. Murray having a solid night as well, however is not going the direction that he has wanted. He is qualified in the number 3 spot, has since slid back to 5th in his Hemshaw Chevrolet. Oh, actually John Abbott hard on the wall just as we say that at a 2.
Yeah, that's a tough hit for that number 10 car. Not going to help the handling of that race car by any means, but I was just thinking to myself, John Abbott seems to have a pretty good rhythm on these bigger racetracks. Fortunately, when you hit the wall that hard, it's going to knock some speed out of the car. And Scott Simley, the number 4, is going to look for a way by him, side by side down the front stretch there. But John Abbott, not too long ago at the Charlotte race, he looks pretty good. That Nathan Little actually won. And but Also, when I think of John Abbott, I always seem to think of Atlanta. He seems to run incredibly well there, and so some of the things that you could take from a big track like that translates to a place like Homestead, which certainly doesn't exactly drive like any other track on the schedule. A bit of its own thing, but loses 2 spots right there. John Abbott getting passed by the 8 of Cody Gibson. One similarly was able to work his way by. So that tank car, it's gonna be a little wounded back there now in 7th.
I will accept personal responsibility for that, as the broadcast curse is going to what grabs John Abbott there, because not the first time we've seen Harrison, you look through the field, you find something to talk about, and then you jinx them per se, or right after you compliment them on how good they're doing, something goes wrong. So I'll accept the blame on that one, as John Abbott has unfortunately slid back to 7th, and again with the green flag nature of this race, that it is the fact that it is the 14 and 85 who are able to run so strong week in and week out. Again, still working green flag conditions. If you're just joining us, you're watching the 2014 RSR Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV. The race number 10 of 10 on the 2014 campaign, the championship finale tonight, the Inside Sim Racing TV 195 from the Homestead Miami Speedway. Currently 35 laps into this 130-lap race. 195 miles will be completed by the time we get the checkered flag here tonight. And the championship battle that was 18 points at the start of the night by virtue of only 12 cars taking the green flag. Believe that it is mathematically impossible for Bobby Terrell to, obviously, even if he leads the most laps like he's doing right now, takes the checkered flag. The 85 machine cannot go any worse than 11th, as Doug Manning has gone behind the wall, and Matt Lacrosse has as well. So the 21 machine, we're talking about the pink on that machine, Harrison, and all of a sudden Matt Lacrosse caught the wall a little bit, brought it down, he's out as well. So 10 cars on the lead lap. So again, that pretty much securing and locking up things in the championship battle for Benefield, who will now actually slide back to 3rd, as Dwayne Vincent able to pull up a spot on him. He'll get the number 2 spot in 3 and 4. Yeah,
we definitely can't forget about Dwayne Vincent, because Terrell and Benefield have mostly been battling for the lead there. I think Dwayne's been a little bit patient with their battling, and he certainly has the speed to contend for this win as he drives into turn 1, just makes up a lot of ground on Terrell, but Terrell gets a nice run through the center there, seems to pull that 9 car a little bit on exit, which seems to be a weekly thing where Bobby seems to really like entering easy and really rolling through the center. And so the cars behind him will tend to gain a little bit on entry, but then you get to the center of the corner, that 14 car starts pulling away usually. And that's just a difference in style. I think Dwayne likes to charge the corner a little bit harder at this point, but you can't count him out. Dwayne Vincent, it doesn't matter exactly how he does in the points right now with that one missed race. He's not focusing on leading the most laps or even leading a lap, that is, until the white flag gets flown. He wants to lead that last one. So I think Dwayne's just sizing everyone up, being impatient, realizing, we have a green flag pit stop not too long from now. It'll be a little bit tricky getting onto pit road.
You have to use those access roads, the service roads that are down on the inside of quarters number 1 and 2, and also in 3 and 4. And one of the most strange incidents, I have to say, I've ever seen on a racetrack is these leaders go around the number 34. That is going to be Ernest Smith Jr. He will lose his lap. That will leave us with 9 cars on the lead lap. Not sure if it was the Asphalt Assault Series or the Full Total Cup Series, but 1 year ago here at Homestead, we had a battle for the top spot between 2 guys, and it was a close battle. They were running 1-2 on the racetrack, and a lap machine was actually leaving pit road, got in the grass there on that access road down in 1 and 2, actually spun up and took out both of those guys, the top 2 in the championship, the top 2 on track, took them both out of it. And because they were both severely damaged in that one, it ended up not changing anything in the championship. But it just shows you that in racing, nothing is guaranteed. And I have to say that that's something that I'll probably never forget, because that was quite an interesting thing to see.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you take that pit road exit for granted because you think, just how difficult the entry is coming through those access roads in 3 and 4. You could certainly gain a lot of time there. You could lose a lot of time there. So drivers tend to really push it in there, or some will take it really easy. But then leaving pit road, you think that all the trouble is in their rear view mirror and you could just gas and go. But it's not perfectly symmetrical, that inside 1 and 2 access road. And all you have to do is hang a tire off into that grass, and the car loses all kinds of grip and just heads right up the hill. And so I believe that was the Asphalt Assault Series last year, and actually I think Dwayne Vincent was one of the victims of that car coming back onto the track, but not the case right here. Dwayne Vincent running second, Terrell edging away just a little bit. That lap, though, they were only separated by 1,000th of a second.
And that was by hunch, so I'm going to agree with you on that one. And I do believe it was the Asphalt Assault TV series here 1 year ago that we saw that late drama. And Bobby Terrell finished second last year, and unfortunately looks like he'll have to finish second again when it comes championship-wise, as he lost by 1 point last year. Not really 1 point this year. Unfortunately, again, entering with that 18-point deficit. Not really the fact that he took himself a hole. You got to look at Bobby Terrell's stats. Sitting off the 9 starts so far in the season, has 2 poles, 2 trips to victory lane, 7 top 5s, 8 top 10s. The only place that Benefield's beating him is he has twice as many poles, twice as many wins, and only 1 more top 5. So it's finishing up front and getting, last week when Adam Benefield took home the win, got 5 more points than the car that finished in second position. So those 2 additional wins at that extra top 5 plus starting on pole never hurt anybody is the little bit of a difference that has been able to give Adam Benefield the upper hand. However, it was in those opening laps tonight, Harrison, that we did see Adam Benefield quite quickly get to the top spot, blow by everybody, open up a little bit of a gap. Since then, Bobby Terrell, now Dwayne Vincent as well, have gone through to the 1-2 positions, and Adam Benefield has actually fallen off rather quickly, 1.4 seconds back now from the top 2 spots.
Yeah, it seems like lately these nationwide cars, the fall off is pretty linear, not a steep fall off, but the cars just gradually lose more and more speed throughout the run. And so how you put pressure on that right front tire certainly changes how the car reacts on the long run, and it's not too hard to really just dial the car just completely tight by just using a little bit too much right front tire. So Benefield, don't believe he's rotating quite as well as the guys in front of him. Last time by 33.71 for that 85 car. The 2 leaders, Terrell was a 33.56, Dwayne Vincent a 58. So that's about a 10th and a half advantage between first and second back to third. And that lead has grown from first to third of about 1.8 seconds. That time was a 2/10 second difference between a 2/10 of a second difference between the 14 of Terrell and the 85 of Benefield. And certainly to a much greater extent, we see Dan Murray falling off about 5.7 seconds out of the lead. Scott Simley holding steady about 6.5 back, closing in on that number 5 of Murray. Cody Gibson's about 2 seconds off of those guys, and then you have, Kevin Linton's about 2 seconds off of those guys. Then you have Cody Gibson well back because he just came down pit road. John Abbott snuck down pit road about 10 laps ago to short pit. So that'll be interesting to see if he's in his fuel window and how that will shake out as he gets going again. But we're starting to see the beginning of those pit stops, but I think we're about 10 laps until the window's completed.
Yeah, the number 5 of Dan Murray will come down from one of our top running positions. The Hemsaw, the Steel Horse Racing entry, his number 5 Chevrolet Camaro coming down again, having to use that access road, going down into quarter number 3, got to get it wound up at an enter pit lane. Pit lane speed now at 50 miles an hour, recently being modified in the newest iRacing build. A lot of the tracks, their pace speed as well as pit road speed being bumped up by about 5 miles an hour apiece, so Murray into his stall, no issue. But I had to say, in the first few races here, maybe not necessarily here with RSR, but the first couple of races that I was doing, maybe just, hosted or official races on iRacing right off of that build, you wouldn't have believed how many guys were overshooting those stalls with just that 5 mile an hour difference.
Yeah, it's something that not many people realize, but you just get into this rhythm where you don't realize just how much of a difference it can make. I get into this rhythm of exactly where you need to hit the brakes, and just going a little bit faster. These cars don't really want to stop at some of these tracks, especially these bigger tracks. The brakes aren't quite as responsive by design, really. And so coming down pit road, very easy to lock up the front tires when you're coming to a stop, and it's something that, not many people really practice. Some people tend to give it a shot or two towards the end of a practice before a race like this, but not something that everyone practices, so you're just kind of going with your gut there when the time comes that you have to be perfect. And that time by Terrell about half a tenth faster than the number 9 of Dwayne Vincent. All of the 3 of the top 3 still staying out, as well as Scott Simley still on the racetrack. Kevin Linton has made his way into the top 5. That's 10 seconds out of the lead.
And again, you talked about the window there. We continue to wait on these leaders to come down pit road. The lead lap cars currently sit at the number 5. It is Terrell, Vincent, Benefiel, Simley, and Linden who are on the lead lap. The 48 of Linden down pit road, this time by for service. Top 4 continue to stay out as Benefiel continues to slide back. Now 3 seconds. He's losing about 3/10 a lap. Is there any advantage that Benefiel is going to get from staying out here, or do you feel I should have come down pit road at this point, Harrison, as he continues to drop substantially away from those guys up front?
You know, the only thing to worry about is the pit window, as far as if he has to stay out in order to make it on just one stop, then he's pretty much in a box to stay out. However, I'm not sure that he's saving gas at all. I'm not sure that you could physically get one of these cars to a 65-lap window for a 130-lap race. So I do think for him, the best idea might be to short pit a little bit and just really try to make use of those newer tires. And you know, he knows what he's a really smart driver. He's figured out how he's fallen off like this, and he knows what he has to do to correct it. As he comes to pit road right now, that's short pitting ahead, behind Vincent and Terrell, who are both staying out. Benefiel working along the access road, definitely not overdriving it at all, just nice and smooth and solid on that bottom of turns 3 and 4. But what he has to look out for here is he knows what he did wrong. He could probably correct it. I think he's going to pick up the pace here on the next long run, so pitting before those other two is the way to go, in my opinion.
Scott Simley going to follow him down pit road from the number 4 position. Both of those guys hitting the pit road cone at the old pace speed limit, right at 45 miles an hour, then accelerating to 50. So again, repetition possibly playing a factor in that one, but it is now Terrell and Vincent, the only two that have yet to come down pit road, with everybody pitting shy of what would be halfway at lap 1. I want to say you've got to be looking at lap 65 for the halfway point in this one. So obviously not going to be able to make it on a one-stop strategy. You're going to have to come down pit road one additional time, which could play interesting into the fact that it's not to the point, Harrison, where that, you know, that third run or even the second run would have to be pushed to the maximum. With just being a little bit short, we could see, again, some more short pitting, but, you know, a little bit more to the extremes on this next cycle here, because a lot of guys could try to stay out as long as they possible, come down, maybe take fuel only. Some guys short pitting, get 4 tires. A lot of different things can go down. One person is down on pit road. Bobby Terrell, he has come in for service. That's going to cycle Dwayne Vincent, top spot, bonus point in the bag for the number 9 machine. And now that Vincent has that bonus point, expect him to be coming down pit road not too long from now.
And Dwayne Vincent, as he does head for the access road here in turn 3 and 4, he was the only car who had not actually getting through 3 and 4 there. But that number 9 car, one thing that you have to keep in mind in a race like this, where it does appear that we're going to be cautionless possibly, is you think about sometimes you want to push that first run as long as you can, and that second run, because then when that final pit stop comes, you don't have that many laps to go. You don't have to get tires. You can put less fuel in the car. Obviously saves quite a bit of time, and so that's where you can kind of work that strategy in compared to short pitting a little bit. Those guys who short pitted, they're in a box where, you know, they can't have a caution fall at certain times, and as I say that, the caution flag is out. Don't believe this is really going to affect anyone on the track.
Terrell.
We'll have to see.
Bobby Terrell gonna lose it, leaving the access road at a quarter number 2 and a self spin into the inside. Interesting to actually see that bring out the caution flag here, Harrison, as iRacing can be quite peculiar at times on if it's going to throw the yellow automatically or not based on where your race car is in comparison to the racing surface. Guess it triggered that yellow by the fact that he was still technically on that pit lane exit. So this will slow us down just as the pit stops have cycled through. It looks like a lot of these guys going to be waved around the pace car, but pit stops are in the bag, and this is the first caution of the night. We're going to step away, take our first caution of the night, and step away to commercial break. You're watching the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series, presented by Inside Sim Racing TV, the championship finale tonight from Homestead, Miami, the Inside Sim Racing TV 195. More on the other side as we step away.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Back live at the Homestead Miami Speedway for the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and the championship finale race tonight. The ISRTV 195 from Homestead saw some issues there under the caution flag period. Dan Burry looked like he spun from contact. However, those drivers will phase through each other on pit lane exit, and the 5 machine just gave it a little bit too much there in first gear, trying to get whatever spots he could, spun it out. However, he did have him at the line, so that will have him start in second. One car who is not going to be up front, Harrison, like he was before that caution flag, Dwayne Vincent, as we pace down the back straightaway with the lights off. Tell us what happened to him.
Yeah, Dwayne Vincent, who made that pit stop right as the caution was coming out. If this was NASCAR, I believe he would have come out the leader, but since he was still in pit road when the caution flag waved, it made him stay behind the pace car. Everyone else got to pass it, so Dwayne Vincent had to take the wave around. Now he's going to be last car in the lead lap, but his tires are on par with everyone else's, so he just is at a track position disadvantage here. Benefield to the lead.
And now we get set for our first restart off a caution flag tonight. Pace car down, green flag in the air, back underway, and no time wasted from race leader Adam Benefield, who was actually losing spots before we cycled through those green flag pit stops, and now finds himself back up front in front of the 8 machine. Cody Gibson, Dan Murray, now Scott Simley, Kevin Linden, all single file. We're side by side for 6th. Bobby Terrell trying to make up for ground lost.
Yeah, and I believe he was repairing damage on pit road, but they can't get that thing as pristine as it was before the race, and his front end damage a little bit minor, but I do think it's going to affect his car just a little bit. Certainly, you want that aero to be perfect in order to get every ounce of speed that you can out of a race car. So Bobby up to position number 6. Dwayne Vincent up to 8th. He's next going to have to get by that 67 of Brian Harvey. Harvey drove it well down into turn number 1, came really close to the back end of that number 14 at Terrell. And now that opens the door for the number 9 to get a nice run off. He's looking low on Harvey, but he's going to tuck back in line. Meanwhile, Benefield way out front couple car lengths over Cody Gibson, who's holding off the number 5 of Dan Murray. Gibson runs way wide coming out of turn number 4, though. Dan Murray with a nice run on the bottom.
And it is going to be side by side. Once again, you see the 4 of Scott Simley, who sits P4. Going to now go to the inside on that 8 machine of Cody Gibson. And all the way through to the inside. What a run by the Budweiser Ford. Sideways, he's able to hang on to it as Scott Simley going to work that time through 1 and 2. I was going to say he's trapped in a position that we've seen quite often, which is you're behind that side-by-side battle, and you just kind of nose around to which lane you want to go with. You got to decide who you think is going to win it all there out of those 2 cars battling, and he'll just hop skip right around that side-by-side battle. The 5 machine going to split the gap. Dan Murray now wants another shot at it. He goes to the inside. All of this battling going on for the number 2 spot, and now Murray can actually pull door to door, sideways on that bottom again, try to find some grip to the rear tires. He's able to hang on to it, but the run off the corner proves in favor of Scott Simley, and Simley will be able to open up about 2 car lengths for that spot. Bobby Terrell continuing to try to charge forward, wants to take P5 from Kevin Linden. He'll do that as well through 3 and 4.
Yeah, and that whole situation was opened up by number 5, Dan Murray, just overdrove turn 1 while getting by that number 8 of Gibson, and you could see just how much he wanted to redeem himself and tried hard to get that position back next time by. They worked through 1 and 2, but Simley and Dan Murray, I believe they look really similar in speed all race long. Simley qualified in 7th, I do believe, and right now up to 2nd, or he qualified 8th actually, 8th on the grid for that number 4 car, but up to 2nd there, so a nice rally. It seems like every week, it doesn't matter where he qualifies, he's going to rally forward.
Another car trying to rally. Dwayne Vincent to the inside, through and clear, no problem on the number 48. The yellow design there with the Jimmy Johnson style low Chevrolet Cobalt on the back. The Sprint Unlimited paint scheme, I do believe, on his Camaro. So Dwayne Vincent going to be able to pick up at P6 after starting at the tail end of the lead lap that currently sits 10 cars strong. His last car in the lead lap, Ernest Smith Jr. He was actually able to pick up a couple of spots, Harrison, on the cycle of the green flag pit stops there, and actually moved himself up to 8th at one point, settling to 9th. Was able to get around Brian Harvey, who's now back up to P8, but after that caution flag, Ernest has slid back to what is going to be the final spot on the lead lap. Again, everybody else from there on, 11th and 12th, out of this race. It is Matt Lacrosse behind the wall and Doug Manning as well. Sherry Ann Mills, scheduled to start this race, was complaining about some sort of graphical issues with inside her sim, and was going to attempt to do some sort of restart on her computer to try to get that fixed. Actually did not load back into the sim, so she will get a DNS there, and that one unofficially would take home 13th position. As Dwayne Vincent continuing to track his progress back up to 6th, closing in on Terrell. So Vincent and Terrell, now they're together, and expect the 14 to 9 machine to slowly start to pick their way through the field. Got a long way over to Adam Benefield. Benefield sits with the gap back to Terrell and Vincent of over 1.3 seconds apiece, and 8/10 safe on that number 2 car of Scott Simley, who is not done trying to hold off a charging Dan Murray, who continues to make up ground. Even more tense going to be aimed that time at a quarter number 4, going to be about a half or 1.5 car length, we'll say right now, for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, Murray just right on the back bumper of that number 4 car, simply not able to drive away from him. You just mentioned Ernest Smith Jr. He actually made an unscheduled green flag pit stop. He had an awkward turns 1 and 2 not too long ago, and caught the apron and hit the wall, and turn 2 exit at a very awkward angle. Probably did a number on that car, so he came down and gave her 4 fresh tires, and as the number 4 skates pretty high out, coming out of turn number 4, Murray looks low, not able to get there, tucks back in line, but hard battling here for 2nd, and Adam Benefield is able to pull about a 2nd advantage on these cars battling for 2nd. So Bobby Terrell currently shown in 5th, Dwayne Vincent in 6th, 2/10 off of Bobby. Looks like that damage isn't affecting Bobby's car too bad, but I'm not sure if it'll be the same as it was before, but right now, getting through traffic is going to be the toughest thing. These cars are all pretty close in speed, so they've got their work cut out for them.
And this time by, Terrell's going to be able to advance that positioning. He'll get 4th. Vincent will get 5th, and that is via the little bit of a mistake, per se, on Cody Gibson's end, as similar to what you described Scott Simley doing, slid up high at a 4, and those two cars were able to get around him. Now Dan Murray going to complete the pass for the number 2 spot, use the inside, gets a little bit of a shunt from the 4 car, a little bit of a tap to the back bumper, back down into 3, but nonetheless Dan Murray, after starting in 3rd, and we talked about him, he's running in 5th machine, trying to make up for ground lost there in those opening laps, has now got up to the highest that he's run all night long, which is that number 2 spot. Now the task at hand for him is the 1.1 second gap that Adam Benefield has on him and the rest of the field. And now Terrell and Vincent, only the 4 car and the 5 car separate them from clean track to trying to get back to Benefield and returning to that top 3, the dominant duo, or trio, I guess we should say, that we saw there in the opening stages of this race. And all these cars here, 2nd through 5th, packed quite tightly together, but a car length separate Murray and Simley, an equidistance between the 4 and the 14 and the 14 and the 9 machine. So these 4 cars, that time by the start-finish line, only separated by about 0.3 of a second. Cody Gibson in that mix as well, only 0.6 if you count him as a 5th car in this battle as well. So a lot of battling going on, and this is not going to end anytime soon as they continue to try to snake and take looks at each other at it too.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that battle for second just quite heated for a while, and now it just condensed, as you pointed out, with Bobby Terrell and Dwayne Vincent getting there. And this time Dan Murray gets a little bit tight out of turn number 4, but not enough to let Simley get a run down the front stretch. But we've seen that a number of times with Gibson and Simley. It just seems so easy to let the car just slide up out of turn number 4. Those drivers who can keep it on the bottom or keep it lower on the track just get a nice run off anytime that happens. But these these 4 from 2nd through 6th or 2nd through 5th, all pretty close in speed, and so it's going to be tough here for Dwayne to get by him. But as you see, Bobby Terrell just cuts the center pretty well right to the back bumper of that number 4 and looks low down the front and decides against it before turn number 1.
And really starting to get tightly packed together. All of these guys now separated by only 0.5, that's half a second. Separating 5 cars about 20 laps into a secondary green flag run on the night. Terrell to the inside of the number 4 of Scott Simley will have a nose. He'll get the position down into the corner. It has not been a race where the inside has dominated in side-by-side battles. The 4 car trying to get that run off. You see a little bit of a bobble, has to correct it. They'll be able to get that run coming down the banking. Vincent and the 8 of Gibson, single file right behind them, trying to, again, pick who they want to go with, who they think's going to get the better end of this deal. The inside, though, Terrell really able to get back to the gas, and he'll get that spot, and now Vincent goes to the inside. He wants that number 4 machine, the Budweiser 4, to drop back once more again, which will translate to be a battle for P4.
Yeah, and it just continues. Number 4, Simley was looking for a place to go down the back stretch, but that didn't open up as Vincent, you see that car on the right rear tire on turn number 4. Seems like when these guys are working underneath other drivers, it just has a tendency to get on that right rear a little bit as they use a little more wheel than they would if they would just let the car drift up the track. Simley runs Vincent pretty tight there, coming through 1 and 2, and look at the back end of that number 9 car. He's just rotating. Simley with a huge run down the back because of it. Dwayne tries to side draft a little bit, but look at Simley, closes the door for 4th. So Terrell able to get by the number 4 car. Vincent's going to have to try again, but look at that turn 4 exit. Big run for the number 9 Napa car.
And much like Bobby Terrell did, Dwayne Vincent going to have the same positioning down into the corner. Has a nose, slides up, nearly gets on the driver's side door there. Has to catch it a little bit. 4 car pinching him down, or at least running a little bit lower than he did when it was Terrell trying to get around. And that run off of the corner is going to give that small advantage to Simley. But it is still Dwayne Vincent with a nose there. He'll be able to get a little bit of a better run down in on entry. The 4 car, though, has really been working corner exit well tonight. He gets out of that groove there. You see he's trying to get some grip out of it. He's really working that wheel to try to keep that rear end underneath him. Does the 8 machine make it 3 wide? He thought about it, went low, gave a shot to Dwayne Vincent, gave him a little bit of a help down on that inside lane, and then back out of it, drops 2 car lengths back as these guys continue to duke it out. This time by still the 9 car. Can he get clear? He slides up, not necessarily clear, but he'll get the job done, shuts the door on the 4 machine, and give P4 to Dwayne Vincent.
Yeah, and I think that was a situation where as that battle continued longer and longer, I think Dwayne just started entering turn 1 a little bit higher to just try to run that number 4 car into a little bit less grip. Just something, and it was a wild turn 2 exit as that number 9 bobbled, but it's a situation where you want to arc as much as you can, but when you have that car above you, you just, as that battle continues and you feel like you have a faster car, you start pushing the boundaries a little bit more, trying to enter a little bit higher to carry more speed than that guy above you. And Vincent able to do that here, and I think he's going to have no problem driving away from that 4 car, and I think the 4 is going to slow a little bit in this long run. It's really driven hard for a lot of these laps here, and I assume that he's going to be a little bit tighter compared to a lot of the cars that he's running around right now. But as all that battle was all that battling was going on, Cody Gibson was right with him and trying to get. He had that opportunity to do that 3 wide as we saw, but now that they're single filed out, the 8 car is not quite able to keep up. But who is able to keep up? That 14 Bobby Terrell. Don't think that nose damage is affecting his car too much. When he's about to be in fresh air, clean air here, it's quite a distance from first to second. Second, give that to the number 14 of Bobby Terrell once again. We'll have to see if it affects him down the straightaways, though. The number 5 pulls a crossover. Dan Murray looking to take that second position back, and really close to having contact in 1 and 2.
He was right on that left rear and luckily did not make any contact with Bobby Terrell on that one, as again he definitely drove it in hard there, trying to get everything he could out of it, and that battle going to single file back out for the moment. Don't expect this one to go away anytime soon. However, Bobby has got to the number 2 spot. Took him a little bit longer than I might have expected, but I think he is going to be able to set sail on Dan Murray, as Murray just lost touch with being right up on the back bumper of the 14, unable to use that little bit of a draft that he would have gotten from it to be able to try to make a move to the inside for some sort of a pass. And now Bobby Terrell is able to focus at the task at hand. He was able to open up about 3 seconds of a gap between him and Adam Benefield there in the latter stages of the last green flag run. The gap is 1.5, so if that trend stays true, Terrell should start to close down on Adam Benefield on this longer run, but Benefield drove it hard in those opening laps there, Harrison. This time he has kind of had a gap back there to the 14 of Terrell, and now the 9 of Vincent, who goes to the high side through and clear on Dan Murray. Now we're back where we started, over with that gap. Adam Benefield may have been able to take it a little bit easier. It's 1.4 to the good. We'll have to see what Terrell and now Vincent in second and third are able to do.
Yeah, that's the one thing in Adam Benefield's favor is the pressure was not on him, so he could really pick and choose just how hard to push that car, and I don't think he was going 100%. He was only running as hard as he had to. But now Dwayne Vincent up to third, and Dwayne doesn't have the little bit of damage that Bobby Terrell has, and so makes me wonder if that 9 car is going to prove to be stronger than the 14 here as we get deeper into this run. But as you said, the top 3, I don't know if we could call them the 3 amigos or not, but they've been the 3 to look at for this race, and pretty much for the entire season as well. I believe they have 5 wins between the 3 of them, or just about, possibly 6 wins, but my second grade math is failing me at the moment. But Dwayne Vincent, I think he might be a little bit faster than that 14 car. Of course, making up the distance on the track to get to Benefield, we're talking about more than a second and a half, and so that's going to be really difficult to do, and that's where the pit strategy comes to play for getting on and off of pit road, and maybe a little bit of strategy. You never know.
And it was last time by that both Bobby Terrell and Dwayne Vincent gained half of a tenth on our race leader at the moment. You talk about these 3 being very strong, with Adam Benefield's 4, Bobby Terrell's 2, and Dwayne Vincent's 1. These guys sit with 7 wins so far in 9 races on this 2014 campaign, and are in fact the only 3 drivers to have a win that have run all 9 races that are inside the top 10 of the championship standings.
Certainly the top 3 dominated the series, dominating this race. It looks to me visually that Bobby Terrell starting to close in on that 85 car. This time by 1.1 seconds first to second. 33.43 for Terrell, 57 for Benefield. Have to wonder if that 14 car is just more in the rhythm of the racetrack right now, or if Adam's really only going as fast as he has to. But Bobby Terrell just. His mirror's getting full of that number 9 car, that Napa car. These guys are coming, so we're working about 42 laps to go here, and it's really winding down. I tell you, the pit stop is going to be everything as long as we don't have a caution.
He is closing, and they said that if the trend would stay true to what we saw in that opening run, he will. And they are flying nearly a tenth a lap now, as that gap has been closed down to 1 second. Before these guys get up in a contested battle, I'm going to quickly run through last week's result. It was Phoenix for round number 9 of 10, and it was Adam Benefield who took home that win. Just for reference here, Dwayne Vincent came home in the number 2 spot, only half a second back, was unable to complete that. Bobby Terrell came home third, beating out Adam Benefield for the most laps, led by 1, as he led 53 laps in that one. JD Laird was actually able to come home in 4th. This was the new Phoenix to iRacing with the open back straightaway, the dog leg there, no limitations on that, so we saw some interesting moves there. Pretty big field in this one. Cody Gibson got 5th, Matt Lacrosse would get 6th, Chad Coleman in 7th, Dan Murray 8th, Doy Woods 9th, and Ronnie Potts would round out the top 10 in that one. A couple cars off the lead lap. John Abbott is off the lead lap right now. He sits 1 lap down. He has already come down and completed his final trip to pit lane. The other car that is off the lead lap, Brian Harvey, he brought it down back on lap number 88, and actually looks like he had to escape it as taking some sort of a tow, so some issues with Brian Harvey. Took left sides only, but continues to sit stationary in his stall, as now Cody Gibson going to lose 1 lap as well after completing his final stop of the night.
Yeah, and Brian Harvey coming onto pit road just slid out of the access road in 3 and 4, and so had a black flag there. Dan Murray on the access road pit exit right now, and you know, for these drivers, they were going to be about 20-25 laps short of the finish if they had gone all the way on this run, and so a little bit of short pitting from a few of these guys makes all the sense in the world. Between Dwayne Vincent and Bobby Terrell, side by side for second, and Vincent just over-rotated on exit of turn number 2, had to back out, falls back into 3rd, but between these top three are all looking at each other. They're basically going to decide when to pit based on what other people do. I don't think any of them want to get hung out, but one of them might try to short pit, and then probably the other 2 will come down pretty quickly. They don't really want to separate themselves. They don't want to stay out too much longer than each other, because big track position, getting out first will have an advantage over staying out and then having the fresher tires at the end, because by the time you make up that lost ground, you're about on equal tires. So the top 3 just kind of playing a game of cat and mouse here when it comes to pit road.
And this is going to be a race for the end of this, and this is going to be a battle for the checkered flag. It has been Adam Benefield who has been stronger on the short runs, and it has been the Dwayne Vincents, the Bobby Terrells, who have been stronger on the short runs. And ever since these guys really started to close in, Benefield has picked up the pace a little bit. He was losing a tenth a lap, and now he's kind of been able to steady that out at a 9/10 of a second differential back to Terrell, and a second back to Dwayne Vincent. Again, Vincent made it side by side for a moment there. You talked about a couple laps ago with Bobby Terrell, so that could have cost those guys some time, obviously, being side by side, not being able to run the preferred and maximum speed lane. May have lost a little bit of time. We'll get an update on the scoring loop this time at the start-finish line, and they do knock another tenth off, or about half a tenth to Terrell. He gets it down into the 8/10 of a second differential range in the number 2 position. Again, Cody Gibson has pitted, John Abbott, Dan Murray. They have all pitted. There's the 3 machines that are 1 lap down. Brian Harvey still in his stall, essentially out of competition here, as Ernest Smith Jr. has actually brought it behind the wall. He joins Matt Lacrosse and Doug Manning as retirees in this race. And Harvey's still in the race, but on pit road, so not going to really be able to advance many positions unless we have some sort of problems here with Murray, Abbott, and Gibson. But we do have 5 people yet to come down pit road. They are all of our lead lap cars, and as you said, almost a cat and mouse kind of deal here, trying to see when each other are going to come down pit road and how it's going to play into their strategy. But Adam Benefield knows that he needs to get tires because he's better on that short run. So it really puts much more emphasis on the ends of Terrell and Vincent to try to make up as much ground as they can, drive it in a little bit harder, try to get whatever time they can out of pit road entrance and exit to be able to put up a fight there for Adam Benefield, because right when this race comes to a close, after 130 laps, that's right in the range where Benefield really starts to come back to these guys on a tire run.
Yeah, and Benefield certainly has an advantage in the sense that if the guys come down pit road behind him, he's got about a second to work with here. And he's not going to exactly gain a full second with fresher tires for 1 lap. So he could go an extra lap and know that he still has a couple tenths to work with in order to come out of pit road with the lead. If I was Dwayne Vincent here, he can duck down pit road at the last second and kind of fake these guys out. And I think Dwayne is the one who could really benefit the most from short pitting and having that fresher rubber earlier and trying to make up that ground on Adam Benefield and trying to get by the 14 of Terrell as well, because I think if he's out in front of these guys, he could probably hold it. So that's what I look for, is to see that 9-car duck down, but he doesn't there. But that would be an interesting strategy to try in order to make that work in his favor. But these drivers are right now about 8 and 9/10 out of the lead between the 14 and the 9, and just steadily working their way closer to the 85 of Benefield, but I don't believe they're going to be there before this pit stop, so why not try a little bit of strategy?
The gap down to just under 7/10. It sits at 64 hundredths of a second right now. As again, those top three, we've talked about the championship battle. It is Bobby Terrell who runs second right now to Benefield on the racetrack, second in the championship standings as well. Entered tonight 18 points to the negative, needed about 15 cars to start this race if he were to finish in the top spot and get all of the bonus points, and if Adam Benefield were to finish at the very bottom in order to make up that gap. And with only 12 cars taking the grid here tonight, taking the green flag as one more car leaves pit lane, that's going to be Scott Simley. The championship was decided at the drop of the green flag. It will go to Adam Benefield unless there are any sort of unprecedented penalties. Don't expect any of that. So essentially locked up, and mathematically locked up if we're going straight off of points for Adam Benefield. He leads right now. Quick run through of the top 10 of the championship standings throughout. It is Terrell in second again, 18 to the negative. Dan Murray third, 42 back from the top spot. Scott Simley is fourth position, 61 out of it. 4 points behind him, Ronnie Potts. That could be a good battle for the number 4 spot. Matt Lacrosse, 6 in the standings, 76 out. Obviously behind the wall, Dwayne Vincent going to pick up a spot on him in the standings because he entered only 2 points behind Matt in 7th. Cody Gibson 8th, Kevin Linden 9th, and Sherry Ann Mills 10th. And here comes race leader Adam Benefield to the pit lane.
Yeah, and just he cannot afford to make any mistakes. And interesting, Terrell and Dwayne Vincent both stay out here. So possibly what they're thinking is maybe they could stay out as long as possible and hope for somebody just makes a mistake, like that first run. Someone got, or it was Terrell actually, who spun getting back onto the racetrack out of turn number 2. And so sometimes you just stay out as long as possible, hope someone else brings out the caution, and they can use that to their benefit. But right now, they're the only two who have not come down pit road. Kevin Linden has been one of the more recent cars to come down pit road, I do believe, just about 2 laps ago, and currently shown in 5th, so that 48 car has been doing a really solid job here tonight. Meanwhile, out front, the 9 and the 14 still continue to stay out here. Have to see turn 3 this time if either driver chooses to come down.
And there are prizes up for grabs here tonight. Haven't really been given a chance to go quite over them yet, so we'll run you down through them as we wait on the top 2 to come down pit road. Still playing cat and mouse between each other as both Terrell and Vincent stay out. They're separated by 0.2 of a second in the top 2 spots. They're the only people that have yet to come down pit road for their final service on the evening. But again, Adam Benefield, via the strong run all season long, he will most likely be your champion for the 2014 Asphalt Assault Series, and that would give him the 2014 Derek Spear Designs Race King button box, valued at about $150 as the prize for the champion. Again, Derek Spear Designs, one of the partners here, along with Inside Sim Racing TV, for putting this series on. And that button box features 7 on-off toggles, 2-way momentary toggles, as well as 10 push buttons, 1 lighted FVS button, and 5 two-way rotary encoders for a type of 32 unique functions. There's never a device like the Derek Spear Designs Race King, and only Derek Spear Designs can deliver that to you. As top 2 still going out there, 1st through 25th in the points. Will also be put into a computer arbitrary draw for a Phonetic CSR Elite pedals, valued at about $177. So $327 of prizes up for grabs here at the end of the season. But those pedals, the high-quality materials, ensure long-lasting durability, improve resistance, and account for the impressive weight. The CSR Elite pedals are equipped with load cell brake technology. Muscle memory is used versus potential memory. Engaging this technology provides you with the most realistic driving experience possible. So a lot of great stuff up for grabs tonight. And again, 1st through 25th, which is going to allow the majority of the guys that have entered and done, at least as I look through the full standings, about everybody that started 2 or 3 races is going to be eligible to be put in that drawing. That's going to be a pretty cool thing to walk away with.
Oh, absolutely, and a lot of people in the running for that. And it's high-quality products, so it'll be fun to see who comes out with that. I'm sure they're going to be thrilled as the top two continue to stay out. The only thing I could think of is one of two things is going on here. Number one, hoping for a caution. Number two, go as long as humanly possible, so you have to spend the least amount of time on pit road as possible, possibly only go with 2 tires, possibly only go with fuel only. You know, we're coming down to about 23 laps to go here. And so they've kind of made their bed. Now they have to lay in it and just see what they have.
And you have to think, though, these guys staying out here running 33.5s, a 33.7 for Vincent. Benefield's running 33 runs. They're going to lose a whole lot of time to him by staying out here racing each other.
Yeah, and the longer they go, the more traffic they potentially have to work with, because Benefield actually came out of pit road behind Kevin Linden in the 48 as well as Cody Gibson, so Benefield had to pass at least 2 cars here since his pit stop was made. Obviously, he's put some distance, half a straightaway on the 48 at this point. And so they pretty much, they're either hoping for a caution to which guarantees that they will start first and second, everyone else having to do a wave round or a lucky dog. Or they're just, they have it planned out where they're not going to be on pit road for very long, you know. But certainly that's going to result in a speed advantage for the for Benefield, the 85 car. So this could go either way.
And we don't have a split time, but your current third place runner is Scott Simley, running about 0.3 of a second slower than Adam Benefield, who sits behind him in fourth, which is quite a substantial margin. But I mean, it's about half a straightaway, 3/4 of a straightaway, that gap. So, you know, Simley could be hoping that Benefield uses some of his stuff up, and who knows, maybe some sort of a late race caution, or somehow the number 4 going to pull something out of the back pocket, and Scott Simley in a great position here for a solid finish.
Yeah, 2 tires for that 4 car of Simley.
Here comes Vincent down pit road.
He knew he had to try something, and he did. Dwayne Vincent come down pit road as Bobby Terrell continues to stay out. But that 9 car getting awfully tight coming through the access road there on the apron of 3 and 4, almost caught the grass, but kept it on the pavement. And now, what's the call for him? He's going to come to his box. Might be 2 tires, might be no tires. We're looking at only 20 to go right now, and he might just add enough fuel to make it and go. But I think right sides would be at minimum here.
Well, let's see. He pulls into his stall down at the second to last pit stall on pit road via qualifying in the number 2 spot. Right side's going to go up at an Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. Do they put 4? No. You're right on the call there, Harrison. 2 tires, gas, and go. Vincent back out on the access road, and as he starts to get back up to speed, you have to watch Scott Simley and Adam Benefield, as Simley going to pass him right now at a quarter number 2. And would take over that number 2 position. Vincent going to be faster, though, not going to be too far behind him. Vincent actually going to be right in front of Adam Benefield. However, Benefield is shown to be stronger on the shorter runs. He's got 4, and Dwayne has 2 tires. We'll have to see how all of this plays out. Still a very fluid situation, as Bobby Terrell still yet to come down for service.
I think this looks pretty good for Dwayne right now, and obviously Bobby still has to decide what to do that could work out for him, depending on where moves are good, really, but I don't think the 85 can get to Dwayne Vincent at this point. And now Vincent's going to have to work on Simley for that lead once we cycle through here. What does Bobby Terrell do? Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, Vincent running 0.7 faster than Simley in the battle for second, but all eyes on Bobby Terrell. He pulls into the number 1 pit stall. Good entry. What strategy does he pull? Does he go for the 2 tires as well? Right sides are up, but a number 14 Muscle Milk Camaro and off. Same strategy as Dwayne Vincent. So they have the same thinking, and now we have to look as he goes through the access road down in 1 and 2. Keep an eye on current race leader Scott Simley, current second place runner Dwayne Vincent. Both these guys already up to speed, and I'm telling you, Bobby's pedaling. Not going to be able to get there. Dwayne Vincent will exit and be in front of Bobby Terrell by quite a substantial margin, and he'll go to the inside for the lead. This leaves Terrell and Benefield probably in this situation where they need a caution at this point, because you called it there before the cycle when we were talking strategy via Dwayne coming down. He's going to get to the top spot. He plays the strategy right. He leads at 15 to go.
Yeah, and now Simley, that's 1 car to separate the number 9 of Vincent and the number 14 of Terrell. Dwayne just missed turn 1 just a little bit, lost some time there, but advantage for Bobby Terrell right now as he stayed out longer. However, I don't think it's enough of a speed advantage that is going to have him flying by Dwayne immediately. He's going to lose quite a bit of speed here over the next couple laps, and those tires might equalize. Meanwhile, Simley doing all that he can to stay with that number 9 of Vincent, just really loose, working his way through 3 and 4 there. Obviously, these drivers getting used to as well how the right side tires feel, as they have not done that all race. But Adam Benefield has to feel a bit helpless right now because, you know, he's got the 4 fresh tires. He pit before those guys, and it just didn't work out for him. Obviously, it's not over, and you never know what can happen, but certainly it's not looking too good for that 85 at this point, just as far as the race win is concerned. 4 wins on the year, and he's got this championship completely if they're not, you know, barring any unforeseen crazy circumstances, which I don't think would happen.
They call him Here Comes Bobby by coming back in these late race charges, and it is 0.6 of a second to Dwayne Vincent, but there is a screen, a pick in the way. The number 4 of Scott Simley. Dwayne is up in front of Scott right now, trying to get around the number 4 Budweiser Ford to the inside in 3 and 4. It looks like he'll be able to make that pass without any much issue. Does he get clear of the 4 car out of quarter number 4? He does, and now is he able to work that track? He was running a 33, and take a look at the lap times, a 33.3 that time by a 33.2 for Dwayne. So Dwayne going to be 7/10. Obviously the 14 machine was making a pass. Does Terrell have anything? He has about 11 laps this next time by the start finish line to get the job done. Benefield essentially out of this unless we see a late race caution here, as he is 2+ seconds out of it.
And number 14 have a bit of a tire advantage for the rest of this race. Because the car's fall off is a bit linear in sections. Sometimes it stabilizes for a little while, but it's going to continue falling off throughout a run. And so pitting 3 laps later does give you that freshness. Meanwhile, it's over 2 seconds to Adam Benefield, so he's just about out of the running, and Simley is in between the 14 of Terrell and the 85 of Benefield at this point. And so Benefield might be able to get to third pretty quickly here, but it's going to be a daunting task to rejoin Terrell and Vincent at the top of the field. That time, Terrell a little bit faster, gained about half a tenth on that number 9 of Vincent, but 68 hundredths, just a little more than half a second where they tend to go.
Terrell is closing that time by just under a 1/10 a second, about half a 1/10 of a second he gained. Really throwing it into the corner is Terrell. Vincent take it a little bit easier on entry, hoping for a runoff. Is it still possible? At this rate, he'll be right at that bumper, at the white flag, I do believe. As that time by, the gap's going to go down to 0.5 of a second. Less than half a second is now the gap. And Harrison, again, we have to mention, with no green-white checkers, if the caution flies from the lap 126 point on, this race will end under yellow. We're going to go side by side and take a look as Bobby Terrell tries to dig and try to get everything he can. He's going for race win number 3 on the season. He can see the number 9 Chevrolet, Dwayne Vincent, getting bigger in front of him. The question is he able to capitalize? Still trying to chip away from it and continues to knock off. One less lap available now. Lap 123 in the works.
Yeah, and riding on board with him, you could see how he's charging these corners. We were talking earlier about how Terrell likes to go a little bit easy on entry, make up all that ground in the center and off the corner. He's in full charge mode, full push, so to speak, and he's just getting every ounce of speed that he can out of that race car, and he's certainly closing in on that number 9. Is he closing in at a fast enough rate to be able to battle for that lead? It'll be interesting, but I tell you what, as he gets closer and closer, he gets more and more of that draft, that slipstream. It gives him better odds. He's on his way there, and I think he'll get there.
0.2 alone. That last time by, the gap is 0.3 of a second. You see the going up a lot wider off the corner. It looks like Terrell's able to give it more throttle off the corner, really able to drive it off, as more or less the fact Dwayne is just trying to hang on to it. This is gonna be a battle for the win in a race that has only seen 1 caution flag, and to this point 124 laps of action will come down to what is now 6 laps to go. A shootout to determine who walks away with this one. The 14 of Terrell, unable to get the championship tonight, but again, would love nothing else besides that, to walk away with a 3rd trip to victory lane on the season. He is closing All know at Racing Harrison there is a big difference between catching somebody and completing that pass, and with the way and how competitive we have seen the inside versus the outside lane and side-by-side battles tonight, if that 14 car is able to get there, this is gonna be real good. Huge run off of 4, 5 to go, the gap, 2/10.
Yeah, and certainly late in the race, Dwayne Vincent's going to do everything that he possibly can to not lose that lead, whether it's running tighter or throwing a little bit of a block. We'll see some aggressive driving should Bobby get there, because I tell you what, racing for the win is everything when you don't have that championship within reach. And these guys know just how, it's not easy to win these races. You can't ever think that it is. Even though Benefield has won 4 on this season, you can see just how difficult it is. He's not gaining on these guys. You need everything to go right in order to win in a league like this. Drivers like this with pro drivers in the iRacing sim, such as Dwayne Vincent, and Terrell's got his work cut out for him. But that lap, 300ths to the good for Dwayne, pulled it to about 0.3 of a second. But of course, 3 laps ago, that was more than 6/10. So. Terrell can get there, and he really drove it into turn 3, and that's not going to work on the exit. I think Dwayne just looked in his mirror and liked what he saw. It gives him a little bit more breathing room.
Last time by, Terrell with a 33.336, Vincent with an identical lap time, running the exact same split, and it is 0.3 of a second. At 3 to go, Bobby Terrell got close, and it's hard to not want to give it a little bit more, Harrison, and that may be what bites him in the end. Getting a little bit over-aggressive, trying to get that little bit more, and after you're riding on the ends, there's just nothing left in the tank there, that now he's the one that's really sliding up off the corner more, not getting the run that he was, and at 2 laps to go in this one, it looks like it is going to be a Dwayne Vincent night, another 0.5 to the good for the number 9 machine.
Yeah, and coming through 3 and 4, we just saw that was Bobby in desperation mode, just trying to get everything out of that car. Drove into 3 so hard, and I tell you what, for missing the corner exit like that, it could have been so much worse for that 14 car. He really rallied to keep that underneath him, but they're coming through 3 and 4 here. They're approaching the white flag, so 14 can try some bonsai stuff to get there, but that's a big gap from the 9 back to the 14. It's going to be tough, but I tell you, Bobby's going to give it everything he's got.
He made up nearly 0.2 the last time by. The gap is 0.2, but is it too little, too late? At a quarter number 2 for the final time, the 14 kicks it sideways. Could he make up 3 car lengths in a corner? Does he force an issue? And does Dwayne Vincent make a mistake in 3 and 4? Now the final time, 14 car right up on the bottom of the number 9 car. Not going to be enough. And at a quarter number 4 for the final time in 2014, it is a Dwayne Vincent day. The Inside Sim Racing TV 195, Dwayne Vincent to victory lane. Checkered flag number 2 on the season. Bobby Terrell second at a championship, and a top 3 for Adam Benefield.
Yeah, and Dwayne Vincent, a little bit reminiscent of Kentucky, not just because he won that race also, but green flag pit stops, 2 tires, a little bit similar situation, only this time it was Bobby Terrell chasing down Dwayne after Bobby pitted after Dwayne. In Kentucky, it was Dwayne who pitted last and made up all the ground and passed, so that's 2 ways to win in similar situations, but what a performance. Dwayne to get his 2nd win of the year. Bobby had 2 wins on the year. Adam with 4. That's 8 between the 3 drivers. And Benefield, just what a performance by Adam Benefield to just win this championship in convincing fashion, as both these drivers going to be doing burnouts down the front stretch.
And as Dwayne celebrates a win, right next to him on the front straightaway, it is Adam Benefield who burns it down in celebration of his RSR Asphalt Assault TV series presented by ISRTV Championship. They're both going to celebrate, and we will step away for the final time for a commercial break. We will talk to the top 3, the winner tonight, and then in the end, the champion. Adam Benefield with a 3rd place result. He is your 2014 champion. We'll talk to him on the other side. Stay tuned on LSRTV.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
For the final time on 2014 with the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and in part by Derek's Beer Designs, we are back live tonight from the Homestead Miami Speedway. The championship finale tonight, the ISRTV 195, has come to a close, and we're down on pit road. We've caught up with who's going to be our second place finisher in tonight's race, and evidently second place in the championship standings down here, but with Bobby Terrell. Bobby, first reactions entering tonight, not enough cars to give you the opportunity to race for the championship. It's going to be the second straight year that you come up P2 in the championship standings. Your initial thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I'm disappointed, but I mean, it was good racing all year. It took me a little while to figure out this tire model and, the way the car drove, but I made too many mistakes. It's just like tonight. I gave it away. I mean, I should have had the win and spun off pit road, so that's just the way my season's gone. But, hey, I got a couple of wins. Anytime you can do that, it's a good season.
Your statistics on the year are going to be in 10 starts. You'll have 2 poles, 2 trips to victory lane, 8 top 5s, and 9 top 10s in 10 starts, and an average finish just about like a 3.8, 3.7, I want to say. So solid stats, and it's consistency that is going to, obviously correlate into good points runs. Entering tonight's race, were you aware at the start of it that because of the number of cars, it really wasn't a factor, and that obviously would have encouraged you to drive that much harder trying to chase the checkered flag to end the season off?
No, I mean, I knew that whatever happened, that Adam would still win. I just started the back and just have fun, just see what happened. But I knew he had it, regardless of what happened.
Walk us through tonight's race here. I mean, with only the one caution flag, you mentioned you had that issue there coming off of the access lane, got the inside wall there, caused a little bit of damage to your car. Did that really affect it for the rest of the race?
It felt like it did. I mean, it didn't drive the same after that. Anytime you get damage, I had, I think, 20 or 30 seconds worth of damage. So anytime you get damage like that, it doesn't drive the same to me. The toe wasn't knocked out, but it seemed like the aero was messed up a little bit. But I mean, it was a good race. It was fun. I'm sure it was. I tried to make it fun for everybody. Racing Dwayne and Adam, it was good battles up there.
It's no coincidence that it was you, Adam, and Dwayne that were running top 3, and amongst you guys sitting on 8 out of the 10 checkered flags in this 2014 campaign. We saw you guys were pretty much inseparable for the majority of the race. You guys kind of lost touch as you and Dwayne got cycled back in traffic there at the end, or rather halfway through the race. We're able to get back up to Adam. And then the pit strategy, put Dwayne up front, gave you about 2 seconds to the good on Adam there. What was the idea? Were you waiting on seeing what Dwayne and what Adam were going to do, or were you sticking to your own strategy there?
I was kind of waiting to see what they would do. I knew when Adam got way behind that he took 4. And then I actually figured Dwayne, just knowing Dwayne, that he would run it to the end and just take a splash and go. When he pitted early, it kind of caught me off guard. So I figured he would take 2. I just didn't know how much fuel he would take. I just kind of guessed myself. So And then, like I said, me and Dwayne, we've had so many good battles, me and him. And I know he was upset at me at the race before that. He thinks I brake checked him. Never brake checked him, but I don't know why he thought that. He gave me a lot of room tonight, and I appreciate that, and I gave him room. So it was good racing with Dwayne. It was good racing with Adam. It's the first time I'd raced with Adam. So I had fun. It was a good season.
I'll put you on the spot here. I know there's a lot to think of, 10 weeks nonstop battling for this championship, but is there any moment throughout the season that you would consider a highlight?
Mess up or highlight? Chicago, I was pretty dominant, I believe, at that race. I had a good race. Very disappointed in Phoenix because I practiced a lot for that race and felt like I had a fast car, but just like I said, didn't get the track position and just this tire model and the aero package that iRacing has right now. It's just really not. It's just follow the leader is basically all it is, and it's really not, to me. It's not good racing because it's just like when Dwayne was behind me. I'm sure he was experiencing the same thing. It's just hard to get a run on somebody.
Well, Bobby, before we let you go, for the final time, sponsors, shout out to everybody who made it happen for you all season long, the number 14 team.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Inside Sim Racing, RSR, for putting this on, and the prizes that Inside and Derek Spears Designs did. Can't say enough about you guys in the booth. I watched the race after, following days. You guys do such a good job in there, and I really appreciate what y'all do and what Laura does on the camera. I'd like to say congrats to Adam. I mean, class act. He won it fair and square. He won the most races. I made some mistakes, but that's racing, and it was good battling with Dwayne.
All right, well, Bobby, congratulations on a successful season with 2 trips to victory lane. It's going to be second in the championship standings, and you will be entered as you and a 24th driver still have a shot at winning a draw for some Phonetic CSR Elite pedals. So a good talking with you all season long. Congratulations and good luck in the future here.
Thank you.
That is tonight's second place finisher and second place in the championship standings for the number 14 Muscle Milk team of Bobby Terrell. The man of this hour so far, tonight's race winner for the second time on the year, Dwayne Vincent down in victory lane. You're with Harrison.
Yeah, and Dwayne Vincent came into tonight knowing that, not mathematically in the conversation for the championship, running one less race than his competitors, but so obviously getting a win had to have been at the forefront, and to come out of this one in victory lane has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, man. Started off the race not too good on the long run, but just wasn't driving it right. I wasn't driving it in hard enough, but that was some fun racing. This track always does put on some really good racing, man. A lot of side by side. It was a blast.
And something that's definitely a trend here at RSR is green flag pit stops and having to get them right. And with all this respectful racing and a lot of the heavy hitters every week, just pretty much just a lot of good, clean racing out front leads to those situations that can take you out of your rhythm when you come down for green flag stops. Talk about working through the decision making of working with the different strategies and just making sure you don't make any mistakes getting on and off of pit road.
Yeah, I drove about 10 laps before I decided what I was going to do on pit road. I wasn't sure if I was going to take 4 or not, and I said, well, it worked before at I think it was Kentucky maybe. I said, well, I'm just going to take 2 and 4 or 5 gallons of gas and go with it. So it worked out, but Bobby was coming, man. I think he pitted a couple of laps after me, and he had a few laps, fresher tires, and I was surprised I was able to hold him off.
Yeah, and actually, Bobby mentioned it was a bit of a role reversal. At Kentucky, you were the last to come down pit road, and here he was the one who put in that position. So I'd say for your 2 wins, you were pretty much on the opposite ends of the coin, kind of on that strategy deal. And tonight's race actually got you up to 5th in points, and so to finish 5th in points after that, obviously a short season. So any missed races certainly have an effect. So I think that's a statement. And certainly you have the 2 wins, but is there anything that comes to your mind that's the highlight of the season that you really enjoyed the most on the track?
Really the good racing. I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the 2 wins, but overall, the racing has been great in this series, and I enjoy that. No matter if you win or not, just good, hard, tough, side by side, good, clean racing, like you said. That's what I enjoy, and pitch strategies and all that kind of stuff. I live for that.
Absolutely, and so gain 3 or 4 spots in the points tonight. Obviously, not in Adam Benefield's shoes for tonight, but what a successful season, I have to say. And who makes it happen for you? Who would you like to thank?
Well, my teammate Ronnie Potts, who couldn't make it tonight. All you guys at LSRTV, RSR, everything that those guys do. I think it's Inside Sim Racing TV, Derek Spears, and just everybody that puts this on so we could have all this fun. Oh, and just one more thing, I'd like to say congratulations to Adam. He did a hell of a job on the championship.
Absolutely, and that's tonight's winner, Dwayne Vincent. Next up, we're going to be speaking to Adam Benefield, the man of the season, the man of the hour at this point.
And we are down here in Gatorade Victory Lane, and we're going to hand it over to Race Control and League Administration John Abbott. He is with our 2014 champion, Adam Benefield.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. Appreciate it. Adam, on behalf of the administrators of Real Sim Racing and our sponsors, Inside Sim Racing, Derek Spear Designs, and LSRTV, I want to present you with the Champions Prize, a 2014 Race King button box from Derek Spear, presented to you for your championship in the 2014 Asphalt Assault TV series. Congratulations, you're very deserving of it.
I appreciate it, man, and this really cool, really special. Probably one of the biggest biggest championships I've won on here. But man, it all goes back, to the way that RSR has put together such a great series for us guys to come out and let us enjoy what we do. It's been a great season. A lot of very talented drivers in this series, and some great sponsors helping to put it on with Derek Spears and Inside Sim Racing TV. That's awesome, and LSR TV for giving out some great broadcast races, and all their whole team is really big, and I'm glad I was able to take it home.
We're going to sneak in here with the microphone real quick. Adam, it's a third place finish tonight, but as a season overall, going to be 4 trips to Victory Lane in 10 starts. And I know one of the things you were also shooting for here at RSR, that Full Throttle Cup Series Championship, and the way the eliminations work on Monday nights, uneligible for that. So don't want to call it a consolation by any means, because the competition that you and guys like you, Bobby, and Dwayne, to mention the top 3 with the most wins on the season, have been battling week in and week out. It was not easy. Walk us through how you got it done from the drop of the green flag in race 1 all the way through to the checkered flag tonight at Homestead.
Like you said, there's stout guys, and unfortunately we got knocked out of the cup deal, but we're still digging over there. But over here, man, it was just come in and maximum points, lead the most laps, finish, the best we could. And we started off, great with a couple wins. And then we went in, I think it was Kentucky. I felt like we had a strong car and connection failure there, but was able to rebound, come back, and finish off the rest of the season real stout. And that's just that's what it takes to win. You just got to get in, you got to practice and make lap after lap after lap, and minimize the mistakes, and be there at the end. That's the biggest thing.
Want to talk to you about some of your stats on the season. In 10 starts, going to be sitting with 4 poles, 4 wins, 9 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. But one of the things that stands out to me is over 50% of the laps that you logged in this 2014 campaign were from the top spot. These B cars, the Camaros, the Mustangs, and then the Impalas as well, included in that for these nationwide, the NASCAR stock cars here with the B series, with the Asphalt Assault series. There's so momentum based. And we had seen you, at the fixed setup series, everybody's out there with the same equipment. And for a lot of these races, you were up there and you were pulling away, being so consistent. I mean, what kind of, differences, obviously, you running Mondays and Tuesdays, do you have to make, mentally, and how you have to drive the car differently with the Cup car compared to these ones in order to be successful in both?
Well, the Cup car has got a lot more power, so a lot of throttle control over there, and consistency, in which you got to have consistency in these B cars. But man, these things, to me, they plow like a dump truck. So it's all about keeping your momentum, getting in a rhythm, and mainly just back back yourself up as the tires fall off, so you can stay at a fast pace. And that's the two biggest things with me, but jumping back and forth. But they're tricky. Tires wear off. Some tracks like here, you started off real free, and I mean, man, with me with a dirt background, I'm not scared to hang one sideways. So it's just like I said, getting in there, practicing turning laps with these cars before you come in here and do a long run to see how this thing is going to do 20 to 30 laps into a run.
I want to also take a moment to talk some specifics on tonight's race as well. Second fastest in practice, qualified fourth, but it was you, Bobby, and Dwayne that were up front for the majority of the race. Your car looked very strong on the short runs there, and in that second half of the race, which saw one more cycle of green flag pit stops, you ended up getting caught in a hole. What was the strategy that put you back there, and how were you able to walk away at the end of the night? What correlated to a P3 finish?
We busted out the gate real good. I led a few laps, and we got the racing real hard in the lead, and Bobby kind of got into the back of me, and so I just went into conservation, or keeping him in my sight. So that's all I really wanted to do, and so I let him and Dwayne go and race it out, and then he had that trouble on coming off pit road, and I was able to go down and get 4 tires and get the lead and bust out. And watching them walk away from me on that first run, I kind of picked up on something, and I was able to hold my ground and maintain a little bit once Bobby and Dwayne got in second and third. And I led a lap, I clinched most laps led, so therefore when I made that final pit stop, I was discussing with Dwayne about what to do, and he said he was going 2, so I'm going to play it safe and go 4 and get what I can get. I felt pretty good, and was able to get by Scott for third, and just sat there and rode, enjoyed the moment.
We've put the other drivers that we spoke to so far on the spot, and gonna have to make you think back real quick on this 10-race season. Is there anything, throughout the course of this 2014 campaign here with the B car side of things that stands out to you as maybe a highlight moment?
Oh man, I mean, there's about 4 of them. Just the racing over here. I mean, it's good racing. It's hard, it's clean. Me and Dwayne leaned on each other a few times this year, but we kept it straight. Me and Bobby, same thing. We'll race the crap out of each other, but we don't ever cross the line. And when we do cross the line, hey, it's no big deal. Just go in, get it fixed, and come back out. It's just hard racing. That's what racing's about. Racing hard is, if you're not racing hard, then you're not racing, is what I think. So, it's just, a whole season, man.
We know you have a lot of people to thank here, and before we let you go for the final time, sponsors, shout-outs, everybody who made this season happen, who made this championship possible for you and the number 85 team.
Roll Speed Dynamics. I mean, the best sponsor in the world. Been with me since day one. My wife, she lets me get in here and do this. All the guys that helped me throughout this season, Dan Murray, Cody Gibson, Jason Swan, he stepped in and helped, and Trifecta Motorsports, some of the best guys that you could ever have on, backing you up, and man, the competitors, the admins, John Abbott, Real Sim Racing, Derek Spears Designs, Sim Racing TV, Mountain Dew, everybody.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the championship, Adam, and good luck in the future here, not only with RSR, but for the rest of your racing as well.
Thank you.
And that is our 2014 Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing TV and also in part by Derek Spear Designs champion to Adam Benefield. He's going to walk away, as we talked to John Abbott there, with the 2014 Derek Spear Designs Race King button box as per our champion. And Harrison, you're now down there and you've actually caught up to have a word with Mr. Abbott.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, you get to look at this league through the eyes of a driver and an administrator, going through the workings of this league and also getting to experience the racing. And I think if I've noticed anything, it's just when you get a bunch of really good drivers who have been around each other, are familiar with each other, it can really result in a lot of green flag racing, a lot of good racing, and a lot of those thoughts echoed by Dwayne Vincent, Adam Benefield, and everybody else. But just talk about what an incredible series to have such green flag racing pretty much with every series that you have here. I think it really says something about the league to have such great, hard, clean racing.
Yeah, thank you, Harrison. I appreciate that. I noticed when we were having signups for Asphalt Assault that we were really getting some good, not only fast drivers, but just good hard racers, good clean racers, and as you saw, we had that for most of the season. I think we went the first 2 or 3 races with only 1 or 2 cautions. Our fields did shrink some toward the end, but we had a lot of drivers that wanted to concentrate on full throttle cup, so they didn't finish out this particular season. But I look forward. We're going to have Icebreaker Winter Series again, and I'm not sure it will be in this car. Probably will be, but we're not certain yet. We'll firm that up here in a few days. And I know a lot of these drivers and our full throttle cup drivers are looking forward to it. But yeah, I would say to answer or to expound on your thoughts. Right now, we're as pleased as we've ever been with with our drivers in Real Sim Racing. I mean, we're having some really good races even in full throttle. Midnight Thunder on Friday night, Doug and them are having huge fields. I know you're participating in that, and some of the best racing over there that we've had in any series. But right now, we've been going pretty strong now since we started RSR again in iRacing. We've been going now 3 or 4 years, and I would say 50, at least half of our drivers are just used to racing with each other. So we've got a really good drivers have a really good rapport with each other and know each other. So we're probably as strong as we've ever been as far as that goes.
And certainly, I think people get involved who notice it. Obviously, help with Inside Sim Racing being a title sponsor of the Asphalt Assault Series, but also the prizes. Adam Benefield being a champion gets a Derek Spear Designs button box. Also, we have the draw for the Fanatic pedals, and between the two, that's a $327 value. So, I mean, that's some quality stuff right there. So let's just talk about getting the sponsors involved in the series and having prizes for these drivers.
Yeah, real pleased to have them. Of course, Inside Sim Racing. This is his second year to come back with us, and of course, Derek Spear Designs. They were involved last season. I do know that they were one of our sponsors, but we didn't quite have the prizes that we have this season. Along with the 2014 Race King button box for the top 25 in this series that we're getting ready to give away. In Full Throttle, Derek Spear is also offering another classic button box for the top 20 over there. So that's two big prizes that Derek Spear is donating to Real Sim Racing, and then the CSW pedal set. That's just something that we did as a league for our drivers. We actually Vanatech really didn't come on board with that, but we thought that we would add something special to give drivers an opportunity to to win a really big prize if they just top 25. So ready to do that.
And you ran about half the races in the Asphalt Assault series. Was there any that stood out as a driver that was at the highlight beyond the adminning and just as far as driving the race car?
Yeah, Adam Benefield. I mean, we've had some really great drivers here at RSR. I mean, Landon Huffman, you got to go back 3 years when Full Throttle Cup. Landon stood out then. Chad Cole has gone into a little break. He decided to take off for this season. But when Adam came around, I noticed he just the way he drove. He reminded me of Chad Cole in a lot of ways. These drivers that are fast, they're smart. Bobby Terrell, Adam, Chad Cole, Landon Huffman, Dwayne Vincent, and I know I'm leaving several out, but they're very smart drivers, and they know how to beat you several different ways. So I guess what stood out was the competition between Bobby, Adam, and Dwayne, and Dan Murray. Scott Simley's he's on the cusp of breaking out. I mean, we've got several drivers, probably 10. I'd say 10 drivers that are just ready to join that club. Nathan Little won a few weeks ago. That was his first win at RSR. So I think there's several drivers that are going to join these guys pretty soon. But that's kind of what stood out for me.
And before we get to the draw, the last thing I want to ask is you mentioned the Icebreaker series. Not sure if it's going to be the nationwide car, but obviously that's going to take up the bulk of the winter. Can we look for the Asphalt Assault series to come back in February 2015?
Yeah, we were a short season this year compared to 2013. We ran a full schedule, but with the success we had in this year's Asphalt Assault, I think there's a good chance we may have a companion series again to go along with Full Throttle Cup. So there's a good chance of that.
All right, on that note, I think we're about ready to do the draw for the Fanatic CSR Elite pedals. It's valued at $177. Anyone who's in the top 25 of points is eligible for this, and so I believe for all those who are anticipating seeing who is gonna walk away with that product, it's coming about now.
And it's live right now on the screen as that drawing goes through, waiting for a result to pop up on who's going to walk away with that pedal set here. So we'll keep an eye and an ear out for who's going to walk away with it.
Okay, it looks like it's going to be position 16 in the standings, and that is none other than, I believe he ran number 16, Steve Ritter, longtime RSR member. great guy. He's going to take home the pedal set.
Yeah, that is indeed. Night of the 16, number 16, 16th in points, paid off as he's walking away with those pedals. But certainly, John, after a great season, I don't think we could have seen any better racing. And everything played out naturally on the racetrack, which from a racer's perspective is what you always want to see. And we certainly thank you for talking with us and running through the Asphalt Assault series. And we're certainly going to be looking forward to seeing the Icebreaker and everything else that Real Sim Racing has going on.
And John, thanks for coming down and taking a word with us as well. Again, congratulations to Steve Ritter. John, before we let you go, I know Harrison's been talking with you. Before we let you walk away, how do people get in contact here with possibly racing with you guys in the Icebreaker Winter Series? And then also, I know you do a lot of this and you're able to put a lot of this on, but who helps you as well putting the shows on?
Yeah, thank you, Evan. The administrators, Keith Brooks, Jr., Joey Jatina, Jimmy North, Doug Manning, Steve Herring, Brennan Mercer. I may be leaving out one or two. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much got everybody. But want to thank them for the job they do here at Real Sim Racing. Our website is realsimracing.com. You can go there, find out all the information on the league and series, and you can even sign up. It's real easy, just a push of a button. And we're running on Monday, and then of course we're done here on Tuesday. But Midnight Thunder on Friday night. Server opens at 11. Grid is at midnight. They're running the trucks, averaging 30. I think a couple of races ago they had 33. So all of our series are fixed, and we're running the NASCAR vehicles. So check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and y'all come on over and race with us.
All right, John, well, congratulations on, a successful year for you behind the wheel, but also congratulations on, and a tip of the cap as well to you guys and everybody at RSR that helps you out for making RSR what it is. And we thank you guys for coming back with LSRTV. Again, we still have the Monday night series going to be broadcasted live on Mondays for the final 3 weeks here as they battle for the Full Throttle Cup Championship. But thanks for talking with us, and we hope to see a lot more RSR on LSRTV in the future.
Okay, thank you, Evan. Thank you, Harrison. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
And Harrison, that just about wraps up the 2014 campaign for the Asphalt Assault Series. Really quick, could run down the final results from tonight's race. Dwayne Vincent going to finish on top, second to Bobby Terrell. Benefiel with a third place result. He is your champion. Fourth place to Scott Simley. Fifth, Kevin Linden. Cody Gibson in sixth position. John Abbott, seventh. Eighth to Dan Murray. Brian Harvey behind the wall in ninth. 10th position to Ernest Smith Jr., Matt Lacrosse, and 11th and 12th to Doug Manning. But before we sign off for the final time here, and obviously looking forward to with the Icebreaker Winter Series coming up with RSR. I know you run the Friday night series, and I'm also looking forward to the championship. Going to be retirement here in about 3 weeks on Monday nights for the Full Throttle Cup side of things. Your final thoughts on the season?
I think it gives everyone every reason in the world to look more into this league, watch the racing, or even participate. Certainly as seasons come to a close, it just means another season's about to start right back up. And so it's been harped upon, but just all the good, clean racing, hard racing, a lot of respectful driving. And so looking forward to Icebreaker, looking forward to Asphalt Assault to come back next year. But of course, before we get there, that Full Throttle has just 3 races left where they're going to sort that out. And as you mentioned, the Midnight Thunder as well, who's open to just about anyone to join. That is a free league. Races start at midnight on Friday nights, late Friday nights. And so I would say just an incredible performance, Adam Benefield, to win this championship so solidly, because, I mean, look at the guys who are competing for it. It's a tough run to make.
This being a fixed setup series, we have definitely seen drivers that have shown to be stronger than others, but in the end it is no surprise that it is going to be Vincent Terrell Benefiel at the top at Homestead and leading the charts as far as wins on the season. But for 2014, Adam Benefiel takes it all. After 4 trips to victory lane, he is the 2014 Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series champion, presented by Inside Sim Racing TV in association with Derek Spear Designs. Also, Steve Ritter going to win the arbitrary draw for the Phonetic CSR Elite pedal, so congratulations to him, and want to thank again Derek Spear Designs and Inside Sim Racing TV for all they do for getting some prizes out here for these guys. And that pretty much does it here from Homestead Miami Speedway. A lot more exciting stuff coming up on LSRTV and these next few weeks at NASCAR Pro Series starting on Tuesday nights. 1 week from now, the RSR, the Cup side of things on Monday night, still has a championship to determine. 3 weeks, and we go to Texas next Monday night for race number 3 on the Eliminator round, so make sure to tune into that. But we're done here for the 2014. The Asphalt Assault Series is in the bag. So on behalf of John Abbott and all the administrators that he mentioned when we talked to him, and everybody at LSRTV, Laura Lawson in the production, Haller, Harrison Weidlitz for doing a great job joining me up as well in the broadcast booth. My name is Evan Pozzocco. On behalf of Inside Sim Racing TV and Derek Spear Designs, the Asphalt Assault Series is a wrap. We'll see you in the future here with RSR on LSRTV.